Hey there everyone, it's Haz here, and today I'll cover a highly requested and frankly quite hot topic at the moment, that is increasing performance for Warhammer Online's PvP, especially in massive fights that can be as smooth as 100 FPS, even in the craziest clashes of RvR as seen on the screen right now. It looks great, right? It has improved the game already for hundreds of players over the last weeks, and personally, it makes me enjoy the game a lot more, not to mention allowing me to record smooth and good-looking fight scenes that I can share with you all in these videos. To be completely clear, first I will explain and show how everyone can gain a very noticeable improvement to the game's stability and stuttering by replacing the old and long outdated DirectX 9 API to a new Vulkan API to use our modern graphics cards better. This should improve FPS for everyone and very quickly. And then second, I will show and introduce a software called lossless scaling, which can enable the new frame generation technology for any video game and use your graphics card to artificially increase your FPS higher and make it look smoother than it really is. The catch is, of course, that frame generation is mostly an illusion, and you will have to judge for yourself if it's something you like or you don't. First then, let's replace Warhammer Online's DirectX 9 API to Vulkan. In layman terms, Warhammer Online is using DirectX 9 API. If you don't know what an API is, let's just call it a video card driver for simplicity's sake, even though that's not exactly true. DirectX 9 stopped getting updates over 20 years ago, so it's extremely old and outdated, and we're going to use a trick to replace it with Vulkan API, which is still regularly updated to this very day. Sounds cool and simple, right? Now let's visit the vorkamp.com website from Troma, which is the main source of all this information and the video guide is made for. On this beautiful website, let's click the guides and frame rate page and scroll down to the so-called async Vulkan section. By clicking the download button here and following the instructions carefully, you can download a compressed zip file and extract the 32-bit version of the D3D9 DLL file into your main Return of Reckoning folder, and that's all you have to do. As the guide also says, be sure to use the 32-bit version of the file, as Return of Reckoning is a 32-bit game no matter what option you use, despite the rumors that Experimental is a 64-bit version in the launcher, and you will have to run the game with its stable version. You can double check this in your Return of Reckoning launcher by clicking the little cog icon on the top right and making sure you have stable selected. Reading the guide, also don't forget to download the custom configuration file you also have to place in the Return of Reckoning folder from the Warcamp website. Once this is done, that's all you have to do to update the game's API, and now you can enjoy an average improvement of 10 to 20 FPS throughout the game. If you have any issues, make sure you reread the instructions on the website or update all your video card drivers. Now for the second part, I will introduce lossless scaling and how we can enable frame generation for Warhammer Online for smoother looking gameplay. To be upfront about this, it is not a free solution unfortunately, and lossless scaling is a $7 application you can buy on Steam. But the good news is that thanks to Steam's refund policy, you can try it for 2 hours, and if you don't like it, you can still refund it within those hours and get back all your money. It is also worth mentioning that this requires your computer to not be very old, since you want to use your graphics card to smoothen the game. It doesn't mean you need the newest PC ever, but players with very old setups might not achieve great results here. Like I mentioned, we use lossless scaling to enable frame generation for Warhammer Online, and what that means is that the program will use AI to fill up a bunch of artificial frames until the game looks smooth for you. This means that the game will feel super smooth, but in really hectic moments, you might notice some blur or graphical glitches, along with a slight increased input lag. This is why lossless scaling is not for everyone, and you will have to decide for yourself if it is worth for you and if you like it or not. Using lossless scaling is very simple. All the settings are shared by Troma on the Warcamp website, or you can also copy mine from this screen if you pause the video right now. But the main settings you need to set are mostly in the frame generation section. Select LSFG 3.0 as your type, which stands for lossless scaling frame generation, and then decide under it between using either fixed mode or adaptive mode. The difference is that fixed will always try to multiply your real FPS, so 2 means double, like let's say you have 15 FPS in the game, it will try to reach 30. If you have 30, it will try to reach 60. while adaptive will sacrifice more image clarity, but it will always try to increase your FPS to the number that you set there. Experiment which one you like more. Next, set the flow scale meter under it based on your resolution. If you play 1080p then 100%, 1440p to 75%, and 4K resolution to 50%. Finally, I recommend ticking the Draw FPS option on the right, so you know the software is working when you use it. Now all you have to do is start up Warhammer Online, then click the Scale button in Lossless Scaling, go back into Warhammer Online, and after 5 seconds, it should enable frame generation for your game. You will notice it being active, seeing the white frame numbers in your top left corner, with the first number being your real FPS, and the second number the result of frame generation. And with that said, you should be fully ready to try out and see how Lossless Scaling works for you. Give it some time. At first it will feel a little bit weird, but I recommend playing around 30 minutes to an hour to see how you like it, and in large scale battles to really see the difference and if it's something you're happy with. It has some other useful options as well that you can tinker with if you like, but all in all, as mentioned earlier, it was a game changer for me and many others despite the slight negatives it brings, and personally, I don't mind the game getting blurry sometimes, as it just feels so much better to play in 90% of the situations I find myself in. If you have any questions or issues using lossless scaling, you can ask help at either Discord, you can find me, or Troma, and we will be more than happy to assist you and help if we can. And in worst case, if it absolutely doesn't help you or doesn't work for you, you can always refund it on Steam within 2 hours, and then you still get your fix from the first section of this video. But with that said, that is the end of this performance guide for Warhammer Online, and if everything worked out great for you, then not only you should have 20 more real FPS thanks to the API update, but with lossless scaling you should be playing a super smooth game no matter where you are or what kind of PvP you're engaged in. Thank you so much for watching this guide. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I hope it helped you, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe for more Warhammer Online content on the channel, as there's a lot more coming. Enjoy your frames everyone, and I'll see you the next time.